Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby, and today we have a very exciting video. This is going to be round 2 of talking about upcoming book-to-screen adaptations, whether that's book to movie, book to TV show, all kinds of news. If you missed it, the last time I posted a video like this was actually 7 months ago. It was last September, I believe. And ever since posting that video last September, there have been so many book-to-screen announcements that I'm so excited to talk to you about because I'm a really big lover of movies and TV shows almost as much as I love books. And so I get really excited, but also like equally nervous about a lot of these books becoming movies. But like I did last time, I'm gonna divide this video into 3 different sections. So the first part of this video is going to be talking about the recent book-to-screen adaptations that have come out either this year or maybe the end of last year. These are the ones that are available to watch right now, whether they're on streaming or in theaters. And then the second part of this video is going to include movies that have a lot more information. Maybe they have full trailers, maybe they have full cast, maybe they just announced a release date. And these are movies you can probably expect to see maybe before the end of this year, or if not by early next year. And then the third part of this video is going to be book-to-screen adaptations that have been announced. So these announcements are like very much in the early stages. Maybe they have a director, maybe they have a lead actor cast, but there's not a lot of information about these movies yet. We just know that they've been announced. So yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Some of the book-to-movie adaptations I wanted to mention right away that came out at the end of last year. One of those was Hamnet, and this one was based off of a really popular book. This one was also nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, and I do think that this one's available to watch on streaming right now. I think this one's on Peacock. We also had the Frankenstein adaptation that came out, the one with Jacob Elordi, and this was directed by Guillermo del Toro. It also stars Oscar Isaac. I did end up watching Frankenstein and I really enjoyed it, but I can't really comment on whether or not it was a good adaptation because I haven't read the book myself. And then speaking of Jacob Elordi, there was also Wuthering Heights that came out, which starred both Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie. I have not read Wuthering Heights, so I'm not really familiar with the original story, but I have heard that this one is like not the best adaptation in terms of like being true to the original story. I think this one is like a different take on Wuthering Heights. I'm really curious to watch this actually. I haven't watched it yet, but I actually think Wuthering Heights is going to be going up on streaming very soon. I think it's going to be going up on HBO Max. And then also at the end of last year, we had another Stephen King adaptation come out, The Long Walk. And this is one that I don't know if I have any interest in watching it myself, to be honest, because I read The Long Walk a number of years ago and I just wasn't the biggest fan of this one compared to a lot of the other Stephen King that I've read. So I don't know if I have any interest in seeing this one, but from what I've been seeing of people, seeing this movie, I think a lot of people are saying that it's pretty accurate to the book. And then there's also the movie The Housemaid, which ended up coming out around Christmas time last year in theaters. This one's based off of the Frida McFadden book and it stars Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. I did end up seeing this movie, The Housemaid, and I actually thought it was pretty decent and it was a pretty good, solid adaptation of the book. I was kind of laughing though when I saw a lot of people say that this movie is like the Temu version of Gone Girl because I kind of agree. I mean, this movie is a really fun like popcorn thriller if you're looking for something silly and stupid to put on. I would recommend The Housemaid. And then earlier this year, we finally got our first Emily Henry movie and it was People We Meet on Vacation. This one came out on Netflix in the month of January and I loved it. I thought it was so cute. I mean, I don't think the movie for me was quite as good as the book because the book for me was a 5-star. I loved this book. But if you're the kind of person who enjoys like a really cute rom-com and like a friends to lovers type of thing that like takes place over a span of like almost 10 years, I want to say, this was a really cute movie. I thought the acting was really good. They had cute chemistry. And then in the month of March, we finally got the Project Hail Mary adaptation in theaters. Project Hail Mary is one of my favorite books of all time. It was actually my #1 favorite book that I read in the year of 2021, and I've been highly anticipating this movie for years. And you have no idea how relieved I am to tell you that this movie was so good. Like, it absolutely lives up to all of the hype. If you haven't had the chance to watch Project Hail Mary yet, I highly recommend watching it. It is so wholesome. It's so funny. It's so mysterious. It has great comedy and so much heart. I just love everything about this movie. Like, it's genuinely one of my favorite movies of all time now. Like, I actually added it to my Letterboxd top 4, which is so rare for me to do. And then another show that's been airing right now that I'm so excited about is Margot's Got Money Troubles. This one is based off of a book that I also really enjoyed this book when it came out in like 2024, I want to say. And in this show, it stars Elle Fanning, and then Michelle Pfeiffer is her mom and Nick Offerman is her dad. And it's kind of this story about how she gets like knocked up when she's in college and she decides to keep the baby and kind of like how that disrupts her life and the way that she's getting put into this really awkward place where like she's willing to do anything to make money for her child. I've only watched the first 3 episodes of the show so far, but there are a few episodes. It's airing on Apple TV right now, and it is so cute. Like, it is such a good show. It has so much heart, and the characters all feel so real to me, and I adore Nick Offerman as her dad. Like, oh my god, he is the standout on this show for me. It is so sweet. Another show that just came out on Netflix is this one called Vladimir. This is one that's also based off a book. I haven't actually read the book Vladimir, but a lot of people tell me they think I would really like it because I guess it's like kind of weird and it's like kind of erotic, I've heard. I think it's about a woman who's getting involved with a younger man, and it has Rachel Weisz in the show, which I think is very interesting interesting. I don't know, I'm intrigued. You'll have to let me know if the show Vladimir is any good. I think it's only 6 episodes and I think it's on Netflix. And then speaking of Netflix shows, we also had the thriller His and Hers, the one that's based off of the Alice Feeney book. This one is officially on Netflix. It's 6 episodes long and it has John Bernthal as well as Tessa Thompson. I personally thought the show was really good, but I enjoyed the book quite a bit more than the show. But I think the main reason why I love this show as much as I did is because I love John Bernthal. Like, literally put him in anything, I will watch it. He's just so charismatic on screen and I just really adore that actor. So I think that's partially why I enjoyed it as much as I did. There's also a really good plot twist towards the end of the show that I think is really crazy, but there were some episodes, like I think the pacing was a little bit slow at times. But overall, if you're looking for like a fun thriller show that you can get through in 6 episodes, I would recommend watching His and Hers. And then speaking of other thriller shows, there was a show called 56 Days that came out that was inspired by the 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, aka a book that we read together for the book troop way back in like 2021. So like that's wild. I think this show is available to watch on Prime. I haven't watched it myself yet, but I think from what I've seen from people that have watched this so far, they're saying that the show is a bit more of like an erotic thriller or like a romantic thriller, whereas like the book, at least in my opinion, I don't think the book was meant to be read as like an erotic thriller. I think it was more of like a, you know, typical thriller. So like, I don't know, I'm guessing the show is a little bit more heavy on the romance, but if that's something you're interested in watching, this one just came out. There was also a romance show that ended up coming out in December, which you might have heard of, this tiny little show called Heated Rivalry. This one was a book to TV show adaptation that absolutely took the world by storm. Like, oh my god. This TV series is based off a really popular book series by Rachel Reed, and it follows these 2 male hockey players who are falling in love with each other. It's actually wild because the season Heated Rivalry is actually based on the second book in the series. I think the first book in the series is called Game Changers. The show is available to watch on HBO Max currently. It's 6 episodes long. I actually watched the show first and then I ended up reading the book, and I'm surprised to say that I actually enjoy the show even more. The show is so good. This is definitely one of those shows that in my opinion, it lives up to that hype. It is so good. The chemistry between these 2 actors is unreal, and this is everything that I've ever wanted out of like a gay romance show. Oh my god, it's so juicy. It's a really, really good show, and the great news is that they've actually been confirmed for a season 2, and I think they're actually starting to film season 2 very soon, and they said it's expected to release by next April. And then these last 2 that I wanted to mention, these ones just dropped in the month of May. One of them is Remarkably Bright Creatures. This movie just came out on Netflix, and this was based off of one of my favorite books. I adored this book. It was so cute and it was so wholesome, and this movie stars Sally Field as well as Lewis Pullman. I know Lewis Pullman from Lessons in Chemistry. I'm pretty sure that's where I've seen him before. But yeah, this movie's available to watch on Netflix. It takes place in an aquarium. It looks so wholesome. And then lastly, on Amazon Prime, they just dropped the TV series called Off Campus, and this is actually based off of the book series by Elle Kennedy. The first book is called The Deal, and let me tell you, this was one of my favorite books back when I read it in like 2014, 2015. It's been such a long time since I read these books, but I loved this book series, and it's really cool because this book series is actually a romance series that follows these hockey players that are in college, and each one of the books follows a different couple on the same hockey team, and it's really cool because I've heard in this show what they're planning on doing is that each season of the show is going to follow different players. So like you're going to get to see the different romantic relationships getting fleshed out in each season. So the day that I'm posting this video, May 13th, is the day that Amazon Prime is dropping this series. So I'm really excited for this romance series because of how much I loved the book, and I am hoping that Amazon does this show justice because it's what it deserves. Jumping into part 2 of this video, this is going to be the book to screen adaptations that have full trailers or updates. The first thing that I need to tell you about is that Verity, you know, the book by Colleen Hoover, this movie has some updates because not only do we know for sure that this movie is going to be coming out in October this year, on October 2nd, but we also have a trailer for this movie now, and this is the one that's going to be starring, you know, Anne Hathaway and Dakota Johnson. And when I tell you, this trailer actually looked pretty decent. Like, I was kind of surprised. I really think they got the vibes of the book down with this trailer. I think out of all of the Colleen Hoover adaptations, this is the one that I'm the most excited about. And then speaking of romance series that are coming out on Prime, we also have this one called Every Year After, which is going to be coming out on Prime in June. This one's coming out on June 10th, and it's going to be 8 episodes long. And this one, Every Year After, it's actually based off of the Carly Fortune book that's called Every Summer After, I'm pretty sure. This is a show that I'm definitely curious to watch. I feel like it might be one of those like perfect summer romance shows, but I'm also a little bit nervous because as far as the book goes, I wasn't the biggest fan of this one specifically, and I'm worried that it might feel a little bit young, for me at least, but I thought I would let you know that this one's coming out in June, and I'm really curious about it. There's also the Heartstopper Forever movie that's going to be coming to Netflix this summer. They officially announced that it's going to be happening on July 17th, and that is so exciting. I don't know, you'll have to let me know, like, what do you think about Heartstopper doing the final installment as like a movie as opposed to a TV show? I don't know, I think that's really interesting, and I'm excited to see how they go about doing a movie, because you know, The Summer I Turned Pretty, that series actually wrapped up at the end of last year too, and now they're going to be making a movie for The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know if we actually have a release date for that one, but I think it might be expected to come out later this year, or maybe not till next year. But I do think it is really interesting when these TV shows, especially like these romance TV shows, are turning into films later on in the series. I don't know, either way, I'm really excited for Heartstopper Forever. We also finally got a release date for the movie The Whisper Man, which this one is also based off of the thriller book, and this one's going to be coming out on Netflix on August 28th this year. And this is one that I am especially excited to check out because this cast is so stacked. Because we have Adam Scott, we have Robert De Niro, we have Michelle Monaghan, we have Michael Keaton. What the heck? That is such an amazing cast, and I'm also really excited to see this one as a film because the book didn't really work for me, but I always thought in my head that this would make for a better movie. And then I'm also really excited to let you know that Mike Flanagan, who is like one of my favorite people creating today, like he's responsible for like The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor and Midnight Mass. He's announced that his next project is going to be an adaptation of Carrie by Stephen King, which I'm so curious about, and all we really know about this is that it's going to be a series on Prime. It says that it's expected to come out in late 2026, so I'm really excited to learn more about this project because even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the book Carrie, I do think this would make for a really fun TV series, and like, it's Mike Flanagan. I will trust that man with anything. We also already do have the full cast. I will put that on the screen here, and I don't know if I recognize anybody in this cast, to be honest, or if there's anybody that really like stands out to me. I'm just so excited to see this because it's a Mike Flanagan project. And then a rom-com that's been recently announced that I am so excited about is the book The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This one's getting adapted into a movie by Netflix, and it's supposed to be coming out before the end of this year, I think, and it's actually going to be like a holiday rom-com. At least from what I'm seeing on IMDb, they're actually tagging this as like a holiday rom-com, which is interesting. But I'm so excited for this because it's going to star Jared Padalecki as the lead and then Leighton Meester as the love interest. And you know, right now I'm currently obsessed with Supernatural, so like I am so excited to see Jared Padalecki in this because, you know, he's the one who plays Sam on Supernatural. And Leighton Meester is well known for her role on Gossip Girl, so I think it's so cool that they're bringing these two together to do a rom-com. It's also really interesting because the name of this movie is actually called Guarding Stars as opposed to The Bodyguard, because I guess since there's already a movie called The Bodyguard that's pretty popular, I think they didn't want there to be any confusion, so they decided to change the name of the movie to Guarding Stars, which is a choice. I think it's really interesting. I don't know, I can't wait to watch this. I think it's gonna be so cute. Another recent book-to-screen adaptation that got announced is The Correspondent, which was a book that I read earlier this year that I really loved. And it's recently been announced that it's going to become a movie with Lionsgate, and that Jane Fonda has been cast as the lead, which I love this. Dude, this book made me so emotional. Like, this was such a good one, and I think this is gonna make for such a beautiful, hard-hitting film. And then I was really surprised by this news because I had no idea this was happening, but the book All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, it just wrapped up filming a TV show for Netflix. It says that it's going to be 9 episodes long, and I think it's expected to come out this year. There's already a full cast for this as well. I think this one's going to be so hard-hitting, by the way, because I remember reading this book and thinking like, wow, this is so heavy. I think this might be one of the most heavy books too from S.A. Cosby, and like, how exciting, because I'm pretty sure this is the first S.A. Cosby adaptation that we're going to get. And then one of the adaptations that I did talk about previously, but there is an exciting update about it, is The God of the Woods. This one's currently getting adapted to be a TV series on Netflix right now, but the exciting thing is that this project has been casting recently, and it's so exciting because Maya Hawke actually just got cast as Judy in this, and then Carrie Condon also just got cast to be Alice. So there is a little bit of activity with this project right now. I'm really looking forward to this, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the book God of the Woods, but I feel like this is going to make for such a good TV series. And then there has been news about Beach Read, which is by Emily Henry. This is another one of her books that's currently getting adapted right now. There's been some casting updates with this film because we have this actress Phoebe who's been cast to play January in the movie, and then we also have Patrick, who's recently been cast to play Augustus. And from what I'm seeing with like a lot of people's reactions to this is that people are really mad that this actor Patrick is going to be the one to play Gus, which like, I don't know, I don't really have any strong opinions about this because I wasn't the biggest fan of the book Beach Read. It's actually like probably my least favorite of the Emily Henry romance books. And so I don't feel particularly attached to these characters in the way that some people seem to be. But I also understand the frustration because he's not exactly what I had in mind for Gus. But it's also like with these types of things, like, I don't know, I can't really judge it until I like see the trailer or like see the movie. So like, I don't know, we'll have to see what happens, but like, let me know how you're feeling about these casting choices for Beach Read. Another one that got announced recently that I'm so excited about is the book that's called The Husbands. This is a book that's like so weird and so strange, and it was a really fun time time. And A24, the production company, recently announced that they're going to be making this a series that's going to be coming out on Apple TV. And this one's going to have so many different actors that are playing all the different husbands, because you know, the whole synopsis for like this book and this show is that this woman discovers that every time her husband goes up into the attic, a different version of her husband comes out. So it's almost like an alternate reality type of situation where she gets to see all the different versions of her life where she married all of these different kinds of men. And some of the men that have been cast to play her different husbands, I recognize so many names here. Like we have Joel Kinnaman, Richard Gadd, we have Joe Alwyn. There are so many names that I'm familiar with, so I'm just so excited to see this, and I think A24 is the perfect production company for this because I'm hoping it's gonna get weird. There's also going to be a movie adaptation for The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I feel like this one has been in the works for such a long time. I feel like this movie got announced a long time ago because we've known for a while that Elle Fanning and Dakota Fanning are gonna be playing the sisters in this book together, which I think is gonna be so beautiful, but like it's been a while since we've had any updates about this movie ever. But now we finally do have a release date for this movie. It says that it's gonna be coming out on February 12th, 2027. So at least we know that it is gonna be happening. It's gonna be coming out soon-ish. And then something that I was also really surprised by, because I didn't think that we were gonna get this film, is actually this film called Red, White, and Royal Wedding. And this one is actually a sequel to the movie Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I think is very fascinating, you know, because I was a really big fan of the book Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I thought the movie adaptation for Red, White, and Royal Blue was really cute. Like I thought they had really great chemistry, and I just really enjoyed the film. But I am kind of surprised that they're doing a sequel, not only because, you know, the book is a standalone book. Like as far as I'm aware, there's not a sequel for this book, so I think it is interesting that they're doing another movie. And this one right now, the movie is in post-production. Like they've already filmed it, and it says that it's expected to come out later this year. I don't know how I feel about that. Like I'm really hoping that the second movie is going to be good. Let me know your thoughts on that, and let me know if you enjoyed the first Red, White, and Royal Blue movie. And then also Victorian Psycho is a horror movie that I've been really looking forward to, because this horror novella was absolutely unhinged and it was ridiculous. And I'm really excited because this one's going to be starring Micah Monroe, who is like one of my favorite horror movie actresses. And this one now has a poster and a release date. So this one's actually going to be coming out September 25th this year. All right, and then moving on to part 3 of this video. These are going to be all the book to screen adaptations that have been announced, but there's not a lot of information about them yet, but we know that they're happening. The first thing is about Anna Huang's book that's called The Striker. Apparently, she was able to get a 3-film adaptation for this book series, which includes the novels The Striker, The Defender, and The Keeper. I think that this is like a soccer romance series, but I haven't actually read from Anna Huang, so I'm not entirely sure. I'm also really excited about this news because apparently Dungeon Crawler Carl is currently getting adapted to be a TV series on Peacock, and I know that there are probably so many of you who are really big fans of this book series, so I'm so excited to see this getting turned into a TV show because I think this would make for a perfect TV series. I just really hope they do it justice, and I'm really curious to see who they're gonna cast to be Carl. I'm also really excited that the book Cleat Cute is also gonna be getting adapted. This one's also gonna be getting adapted into a TV series on Amazon. I wasn't the biggest fan of this book, but I think the main reason why I'm excited for this is because I want to see more queer sports romance. You know, because Heated Rivalry was as big and as successful as it was, I feel like now this is going to give the green light to a lot of these other queer sports romance stories, and so I'm really excited to see Cleat Cute. I hope that it's good. We also have news that Finlay Donovan is Killing It is officially getting picked up to be a TV series for Peacock as well. Dude, Peacock has some really fun stuff lining up. I am so excited. Finlay Donovan is Killing It is a book series that I loved the first book. Like the first book for me was a 5 out of 5. It was one of my favorites. I love these characters. I think they're so silly and goofy, and that this is going to make for a perfect book to screen adaptation. I also think it's really awesome and really encouraging that Tina Fey is one of the names listed as like one of the people who are going to be adapting this, because I feel like when Tina Fey gets attached to a project, you know it's going to be good. We love her forever because of Mean Girls. It also recently got announced that the book The Favorites by Lane Fargo is getting adapted to be a movie for Netflix, which I love this news, by the way, because even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the book The Favorites, I actually thought to myself while I was reading it, I was like, this would be an incredible film. Like I could almost visualize it even better as a movie in my head. And so I'm really excited for this project. Actually, I can't wait to see who they end up casting as the leads in this. And then for anybody who's a big fan of Fourth Wing and like that whole fantasy series, you might be excited to know that it's currently getting adapted by Amazon Prime. I think the most interesting thing about this news is that Michael B. Jordan is attached to do some producing on this. I don't even know if it's going to be a movie or if it's going to be a TV series. I don't think that that's been confirmed yet, but I am so intrigued by this news, mostly because of Michael B. Jordan's involvement with it. I'm just really curious to see how this plays out because I know Fourth Wing is like so popular right now, and I can see this becoming a really, really popular movie or TV series. And then Taylor Jenkins Reid also has another movie in the works with Carrie Soto is Back. I'm really excited for this one. It's actually supposed to be a TV series that's getting adapted for Netflix, and Serena Williams is attached attached to produce this one, which I think is so fascinating. I'm just really excited to see this one, and I feel like after the success of Challengers and how much people really loved that movie, I feel like we're gonna see a rise in like tennis movies. I'm also really excited that one of my favorite romance books ever, The Charm Offensive, it's recently been announced that it's becoming a movie. It's actually in pre-production right now, and one of the actors has already been cast for this film. We have this guy Nick Dodney. I'm not really familiar with him, and I don't think that they've cast the other actor that's gonna be playing Charlie yet, but I'm so excited for this movie. You have no idea. I'm scared. I'm terrified because The Charm Offensive is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm also really excited because the book Yesteryear, the one that just came out, like this is a very recently published book, and I'm actually planning to read this one very soon, but Yesteryear recently got announced that Anne Hathaway is going to be making this one into a movie. It says that she's going to be working alongside Amazon MGM Studios, and that she bought the rights for this book before it even published, which is an amazing sign. I feel like that's how you know that Yesteryear is going to be like a really hard-hitting, amazing book. There's also that book called Romantic Comedy, and this one has apparently been picked up by Reese Witherspoon's production company called Hello Sunshine. This is actually one that got announced back in 2024, and there hasn't been a lot of movement on this project since then, so like we'll have to see when this ends up happening. And then another romance project that I'm really excited about is Before I Let Go. This book is also getting developed into a TV series at Peacock, and this is one that I'm so curious about because I was a really big fan of this romance book, and I feel like this show is going to be absolutely gut-wrenching. I've also heard that Alice Feeney's other thriller book that's called Rock, Paper, Scissors is getting developed by Netflix as well. I haven't been able to find too much information on if they've been able to do any casting or like when we can expect this film, but I think it's officially been announced. And then this next one, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, but there's such little information about this that I don't even know if it's like official, but apparently the book, Once There Were Wolves, has been confirmed that it's getting adapted into a series, and there's rumors that Elizabeth Olsen is going to be starring as the lead, which like, oh my god, you have no idea how excited I am for this because this book made it into my top 3 books of the year when I read it, and I absolutely loved it. It made me so emotional. Like, I love this book, and the fact that somebody like Elizabeth Olsen, aka one of my favorite actresses, could get cast to play the lead in this, like this would be a dream come true. So I feel like there's a lot of rumors right now with this project. Like, we don't know if anything's confirmed, but I thought that I would let you know that I see a rumor going around about this, and I am just so excited. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention, this is also one of those things that's like, it's just a rumor and it's probably not gonna happen, but I thought I'd mention it here anyway because Andy Weir has been talking about his book called Artemis, and that's the only book of his right now that doesn't have an adaptation. And so he was talking about like, in his mind, if he could cast anybody to play the lead character Jazz in his book, it would be Jenna Ortega. And I know that he's just like stirring the pot, you know, and like starting some rumors, and it's probably never actually gonna happen, but that is really interesting to think about. And I think because of the success of Project Hail Mary, I feel like they're more likely to take a chance on making a movie for Artemis. I think the thing about Artemis that's different is that Artemis is like not quite as loved as his other books, and Artemis would be pretty crazy to see as a movie because this book takes place almost entirely on the moon. I do think it would make for a really good movie, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the book. So that is all of the book to screen news that I have for you today. I'm sure that there are so many other projects that I probably don't even know about or that I accidentally left off this list because there are so many things getting announced constantly. There's probably gonna be even more news between the time that I'm filming this and the day that I'm posting it. And you know, like I said last time, if you enjoy this kind of video, let me know if you'd like to see another video like this from me before the end of the year. I would love to make videos like this around like every 6 months because I feel like there's always so much news coming out that I get so excited about, and I love sharing that excitement with you and letting you know about cool things that are gonna be coming out soon. Which movies or TV shows are you most excited to see happen? Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!